Black supremacy. And with this particular video, I want to talk about how your existence is suspended in nothingness. Now, I could have easily said your existence is suspended in space, but space is the distance between two objects. So space is actually relative. So you're not suspended in space. You're actually suspended in nothingness. Nothingness. You're just suspended, held up there independently by yourself. Now, why this is so deep? This is very deep. If you just look at your body, a lot of people say, they would love to fly as human beings. We look at the birds, we love to fly. We look at aircraft, we look at insects, butterflies, and as children, being very imaginative, we just kind of looked and wished that we could fly, or maybe one day we can fly. Some of us fly in our dreams. Well, you are flying. The real you is actually flying. Let me just give you an example. If you don't use your arm muscles, if you don't exude your arm muscles, and you carry something, then you'll feel the weight in your legs because it's being carried in your legs. If you don't use your arm muscles, so you'll feel the weight in your lower body because you're just holding. Just imagine yourself holding a heavy object that you're carrying, but you're not really using your arm muscles to hold it up. So you're going to feel the weight in your legs. But once you use your arm muscles, which comes from thought, which comes from your nervous system, that activates your muscle memory, and you start to actually lift the heavy object that you're carrying, you no longer feel the weight in your legs anymore. So the object is being suspended by how your muscles are actually holding it up in space. So the object is suspended. It's not really dependent on your legs. It's not grounded based on the ground. To some degree, it's connected or attached to the ground, but your muscles has it suspended in the air. So you notice less weight in your legs and your lower body regions, and it's kind of suspended in your arm, in arm muscle. That's how your consciousness is. You're suspended in nothingness, but you can attach yourself or ground yourself in any way that you please. A lot of stuff that you think is the cause of your existence or is the reason why you exist is only things that you've attached yourself to. They really have absolutely nothing to do with the nature of your existence. The nature of who you are is suspended in nothingness. And it attaches itself to many different things, and a lot of the problems and issues we have in our lives is pretty much based on what we have attached ourselves to, and not based on the nature of how we exist. Basically, you really are a UFO, but you think you're a car. You think you're grounded in this planet, but you're not. You're just a UFO that attaches itself to a car. Your existence is suspended in nothingness beyond this plane of existence that you're in right now. And just because you can attach yourself to this plane doesn't mean that this plane is what's actually holding you up. Doesn't define you. And doesn't really make up the totality of who you are. You can attach yourself to many things, and the problem is when you begin to define yourself and limit who and what you are to what you have attached yourself to, which is how you're connected to this plane as a physical being. How you attach yourself to this plane, even mentally, through certain narratives, through certain perspectives, you begin to think that's who you are. You're not realizing that the real you is suspended in nothingness. That your actual consciousness is a total and absolute miracle. Your consciousness is a miracle. That means that it is not arriving or arising in anything that makes any type of sense based upon any physical laws that man understand. That's why we don't understand death from this plane, because we don't really understand life. You can't understand death if you don't understand life, and life is beyond understanding, because where you truly live at is suspended beyond this plane that is visiting different realms and dimensions and paradigms through what you attach yourself to. So meaning you're kind of here with us, you're kind of walking around on earth, but then there's a part of you that's beyond the earth. It's ways in which we understand you. It's ways in which you understand yourself. It's ways of which you connect to situations and circumstances and events. And then there's something about you that's beyond all situations, all circumstances, and all events. So you see a life change around you. You see a lot of people change around you. You see situations change around you. But you remains changeless, and you, as situations change, you still have a solidity of identity that's beyond circumstances. You're still whole. So as you move through this plane, you're not made up by it. You're not completed by it. And there is no ingredient or combinations of ingredients of experiences that make up the identity of who you are. Who you are is suspended in nothingness. Now this is where the trap comes in at. When you realize that you're suspended in nothingness, you realize that you have unlimited potential, that you can achieve anything for no reason, beyond logic, beyond mathematical calculation, because you're suspended in nothing. So you have no real history, and you have nothing that really bounds you to a particular future, only based on what you attach yourself to and how you can limit yourself. But since you're ultimately suspended in nothingness, then you can create and manifest whatever you really desire out of that nothingness as a true God and as a creator. See, everything can come out of nothing. Everything can come out of nothing. But nothing in everything explains the nothingness. So the only thing that cannot come out of nothing is a complete explanation of the nothingness. Everything else can come out of it, can arise in it, other than some explanation that encompasses the nothingness, which is all that is and everything simultaneously. So there is no explanation and really no rules or regulations unless you put yourself within a certain paradigm, within a certain perspective, within a certain context, within a certain construct, unless you attach yourself to this material world in a particular way, there really is no limits to your existence and what you can create and what you can manifest and how you can create and how you can manifest. If you can stand in the fact, entertain the possibility that you are suspended in nothingness. You are arising from complete nothingness right now. So all the success, all the abundance, all the empowerment, all of the love, all of that can arise out of the nothingness that you are. Because you have attached yourself to certain patterns and certain paradigms and certain contexts here on the earth, you all have also limited what you can do and what you can achieve, and you have locked yourself into a certain grid, into a certain dynamic, into a certain way of perceiving things that is very limited. You have created a sequence of things. You have created a sequential order to things. You have created a chronology that actually limits what can happen right now for you. You believe that some part of you is in the past, that the essence of who you are is somehow in the past. The essence of who you are is limited to some type of future. And you have all these thoughts and experiences that you identify as being who you are, that's making up some continuity of your personhood, and that somehow you are composed or constructed of these different ideas and experiences and memories and this order to things. But in reality, you are suspended in nothingness, and whatever you weave into nothingness becomes a temporal reality that you entertain that can easily dissolve back into that nothingness. And as these different ideas and constructs and contexts and narratives dissolve into the nothingness, you still remain whole, perfect, and completely suspended above and beyond it all in a space where you can completely create all anew out of that nothingness again. You can completely construct the entirety of existence all over again. But if you have become overly attached to the finite or the materialistic or fourth dimensional reality as being something that is real and not something as that you have affixed yourself to, as a UFO, you connected yourself to something that is identifiable. You're an unidentified object that has attempted to identify yourself in this physical plane, and the identification of how you have attempted to identify yourself has become your identity. But an identity is not who you are, because you can change your identities. You can identify yourself differently. You can identify your entire life differently and come up with a different narrative, a different perspective, or a different paradigm. So how you identify yourself is not your identity. Then who and what are you? You are suspended in nothingness, but everything exists within the nothingness that you can affix yourself, or you can call forth or invoke any aspects or any dimensions of that nothingness. You can call to life, you can call forward, you can play any tapes, you can bring light to anything, you can shed light on any of the infinite darkness to create a reality or to create realities for yourself. The problem is when you begin to think that the realities that you have created or that you have given light to are real. They're just photos or based on photons. They're not real. It's photoshopped by your mind. But when you start thinking that these realities are real, or that these realities define you, or that you are imprisoned or limited to a particular reality that is completely a consciousness construct, then you become trapped in the material world. You become trapped in certain dimensions. You become trapped in your own creation. And that is the twilight zone. You're no longer aware that you're suspended in nothingness, dreaming of the infinite somethingness of it all, and consistently and constantly having that dream, you forget that. So through meditation, through enlightenment, through the mindfulness that is invoked by the guru, you get an opportunity to once again remember yourself and become aware of yourself, of that nothingness, of being suspended in the nothingness, so that you can actually start over, and you can immediately accelerate and instantaneously manifest, instantaneously create your highest good for no reason at all, based upon no type of logic, construct, rules, laws, or regulation, based upon no past or no limitations of what the future could be. The only method in the madness is your creation, is that you're creating, that you are the only order out of the chaos that you are suspended in, that there is absolutely nothing here but what your mind is projecting, that what is being emanating from your consciousness, that's all that is actually here, and that isn't real, not in the sense that it cannot be a real experience for you, but it isn't real because it is not the nature of existence, or it is not the limits of how existence can be perceived in order to manifest infinite experiences and infinite directions. It doesn't speak to how multidimensional existence is and can be. So we want to bring you back to that state of nothingness, so that you can become a God consciousness again, to manifest and create the experience that you want to have for no reason other than but you want to have it, no reason than other than that you can do it. And now you are empowered again. You're no longer a prisoner of perceptions that you have affixed yourself to narratives, constructs, or contexts that you have affixed yourself to, that has locked you into the prison that you're calling your present moment. Because now you're not experiencing the present moment as how infinite that it really is. If you suspended in nothingness, the only somethingness that you will experience is what you anchor yourself on, based upon what you want to create and manifest in the universal and cosmic mind. This is King Noble Black Supremacy, signing out.